So good afternoon, we are Group 7 consisting of members Caber Byron, Chen Jennifer, Jimenez Gabriel, and Villas Cyril. We are about to present our Cebu City project for the My City Design 2020 My Sustainable City competition. So we chose the category Safe and Sound and Sharing Cities. So our Cebu City project is an NDRRC pod. So it's a National Disaster Risk Reduction Control pod. So a little background of the site. So why we chose Cebu City. So it's actually a fast-growing and highly urbanized area in Visayas and is considered as one of the developing cities outside of Metro Manila. The city is actually famous for its center of trade, education, and industry, and is known for its historical and tourist attractions. With the developing city comes with existing problems. So we have researched that Cebu City's existing problems are solid waste management, water management, flood management, transportation system, and energy supply. With these five existing problems, we chose to tackle three problems, that is water management, energy supply, and flood management. So for water management, Cebu City has been experiencing water shortage due to low production from their wells, that is their river and their dam. These are one of the causes on including weak implementation of environmental policies and regulations as well as low public awareness and concern. For their energy supply, so Cebu City imports almost all of its energy, other than the 11% of electricity consumed that is generated within city boundaries. So all energy sources like electricity, oil products, and natural gases are imported. So although Cebu City has a significant potential to harness solar power, it does not do so because no renewable power technology is yet installed in the city. For flood management, Cebu City is not really prone to earthquake. It's not on the fault line. However, the city has been experiencing hazards such as flooding in the uptown areas, mainly due to having problems of waste and drainage. So flood within Cebu City are generally concentrated along the downtown areas. So a city of tomorrow, a self-sustaining city. So the NDRRC pod is a long-term solution to the problem of the water rising and energy supply in Cebu City. Power will be provided through a series of renewable energy sources, including solar, thermal, wind energy, hydraulic, and tidal power station. So the concept of the floating pod, it actually harnesses tidal and wind power and it has water desalination. And it connects to the city, so it's able to provide electricity and water. So through computation and research, the floating pod is able to make 800,000 liters per day. So that's 211,337 gallons of water and is able to provide for 20,000 people. For electricity, it's able to make 40,000 kilowatts and is able to provide for 40,000 households. So the connection to the city, as you can see on the left, that's the floating pod. Underneath is the marine turbines and water desalination. This is on the water, this is on the sea, and there are pipes connecting to the land where you can see there's a water reservoir, power substation, water distributor, and power distributor. So these connect to the city, which is kind of far from the city. So for platform elements, so this is from another case study we were able to research on. So the platform size is 80 by 100 and platforms will be bolstered by biorock, a material created by exposing underwater minerals to an electric current. So the platform has three layers. So the outer layer will be made out of polyester fiber covered by titanium dioxide, which can react with ultraviolet rays and can absorb atmospheric pollution through photocatalytic effect in the same way as the air purifying concrete and paving stones. So there are three layers for it. So there's a platform roof, the reinforcement walls on the middle, and then a floor and perimeter walls. So to keep the platform steady and not moving, we have researched that there's a mooring system. So it's a set of tension legs or tendons attached to the platform and connected to a template or foundation on the seafloor. The template is held in place by piles driven into the seafloor. This method dampens the vertical motions of the platform but allows for horizontal movement. So for platform shape, so we chose a hexagon because we have researched that aerodynamic platform shape reduces impact of strong winds and flying debris. So the symmetrical shape also gives balance to the structure. For exterior circulation, structures would have double facade and would act as a buffer from wind and rain and protects the interior where people will reside in case of flooding. So this is the Cebu city plan. As you can see, the floating pods are relocated on water, and then there would be a huge land before the start of the Cebu city on the far left. So the on the land, that's where we'll be putting up the connections, and then the connections will be connected to the city itself. So these are the floor plans. So this is a platform floor plan. So as you can see, the SDP has a covering, and then the basement will be where the utilities are. And then there are three buildings. So this is the ground floor plan, second floor plan, third floor plan, and then the rooftop. So for more detailed explanation, here we go. So the basement, this is where we put the water desalination, utility room, disaster preparedness storage, and then the utilities like electrical room and genset. So the disaster preparedness storage actually has its own elevator, and then it connects to the it doesn't show, but it connects to the evacuation centers. So easy access from storage to evacuation center in case there are people residing there if ever there's in need. So first we'll tackle the admin building. So this is the first floor plan of the office areas. So as you can see, there's office areas, a lobby, storage on the first floor plan. There's also a meeting room, break room, and there's the service part. There's a service entrance. So yeah, and then service area, and then they also have a basement access to the basement. If ever they need to check up on the utilities. So the second floor plan, also a lobby in the middle. There's also office areas, a file room, storage, and then a CR. And then on the roof deck plan, we chose to put up a garden. So on the second building, these are the rentable spaces and training center. So as you can see from the entrance, you go inside. There's a lobby, there's two lecture rooms, and then a big storage. There's also a service entrance, and they also have a basement fire exit. So they have access to the basement. On the second floor plan of it, there's a big training room, and then also a big storage. And then on the roof deck, there is also a garden. So for the control and evacuation center, so the first floor plan on the right is the rehab and recovery. So as you enter the lobby, this is where people will be signed in case of evacuation and disaster. The lobby is big enough so people will be able to register there before they are put into the evacuation. So actually, on the first, as you can see on the first floor plan, so the emergency evacuation has its own speedboats on the right, and then in case there are people who are um, really in need, they're put there. We have put an emergency clinic. So once they have arrived to the pod via speedboat, they're automatically put into the emergency clinic and be treated. Be treated. And then on the left side of it, the lobby, this is where the call center IT, this is where people would call in case they're in need. So we have put it a big office space for that, for different parts. And then we have a drone storage and drone control center just to see the situation of how the people are going. And then we have also put a lounge area there. And then we have put like a big CR on the bottom part for men's and women's CR. And then we have put a shower room in the middle in case there is emergency. So the second floor plan, as you can see, we have also put an events and evacuation center too. So in case that there's no evacuation center, it's not needed, it can be used for an event. And we have also put its own CR and shower room on the bottom, and then a big storage on the right. We have also put a second clinic on the second floor in case those are for the clinics that are not really an emergency but need to be treated. People need to be treated there. And then on the left you can see a conference room and an office area too. And then there are roof deck garden on the both sides. For the third floor plan, we have put a cafeteria on the top. This is for that it can be converted into a soup kitchen if ever there's an emergency. So in case that there are people staying in the evacuation center for like 2 or 3 days, food will be provided and there will be a soup kitchen on the top for cafeteria. So if not, it's not an events place. If it's not needed for emergency, it's a it's a cafeteria for the people who be working there, or for people who rent it for events. On the left side, there's also a lab 1 and lab 2. These are for experimentations there. And then we have put also a CR on the bottom, then soil utilities, janitor closets, kitchen, storage. So this is the evacuation events hall center 4th floor plan. So this is some utilities lang like a cooling tower. So as you can see in the elevation, it's shaped as a clam because the shell of it is the reason why, and also the exterior. So we have put like a barrier so in case there's an emergency, the typhoon, the strong winds and the debris will have a buffer so it's not directly hit on the building itself. So it's like an extra protective layer for the people inside. So it's also the same for the rear elevation and right side elevation. So this is the rendered perspective of the RC pod. So as you can see, it's on water, and then you can see that we have put a helipad in the middle in case of like emergency of people, and then the protective layer, and then there's a huge park on the middle. So yes, this is the elevation. This is the perspective from the evacuation center. Yes, and this is the speedboat area for in case there are people in need. And there. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed and learned a bit about Cebu City. And thank you.